Okay. Okay, guys, we got a little technical problem. So what we're going to do, we're going to change this up a little bit and do the staff reporting first. And then hopefully we'll have that solved by the time we finish with that. So I guess we'll do the roll call then because Marlene doesn't have a laptop. Okay, so let's go on with the staff report. You get after it, whoever is first. Okay, let's do roll call.
That's what I'm trying to do. Restart.
Remember, put your red lights on.
Roll call. Chairman Anchor Jensen.
Here.
Vice Chairman Dr. Joey Hinojosa.
Here.
Treasurer Gerardo Gonzalez. Secretary Liliana Elizondo. Here. Board Member Frank Orozco Jr.
Here.
Board Member Ana O'Quinn.
Here.
Board Member Benjamin Peña.
In attendance.
And for the record, Treasurer Gerardo Gonzalez is absent.
Mr. Chairman, I'll request that we can jump to item number 5 for the executive report.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So next month, we will be hosted by Project Oxidizing. They're going to be giving us a tour of the plant. This is in Austin, Texas, in the area of Austin, Texas. The mayor is going to be joining companies around this particular project out in the Austin area, which they're looking to replicate here. One of the things that we're looking at is, again, because they are in the energy sector, part of what they do is use that fuel for other different corporations, companies, especially in the tech industry. They use the fuel and they tend to be following this particular company, which happens to be a supplier to one of our major companies here. So we're in that position right now. A lot of excitement as far as going out to see their operation. Last week, we hosted a delegation from UT-RGV. We had experts and professors in the field of additive manufacturing, which is 3D printing. They're promoting their new facility in Edinburgh, which has state-of-the-art equipment. And that happens to be, again, because of Project Oxidizing, one of the sectors that we're targeting. So it would pair nicely with what we have here already and trying to recruit some of those industries and then having that training at UT-RGV. DCI, that's our consultants out of New York. We've gotten back some initial results from the site selector survey. So for the board retreat that we're looking to have either in July or August, we're going to have them come in and present those results to us. And it's interesting because they did a survey, one with local residents and our leadership, but also with site selectors, which is our core audience, the ones that we're usually courting because they're the ones that have projects. So they're going to be giving us information in regards to their perceptions of the area and compare those with our perceptions of our area. So this, it's an interesting analysis. We've gotten some early indications that there is some work to do from our end, but that means that there's opportunity. In Monterrey Trade Mission, ourselves, the Harlingen EDC and the Cameron County EDC, we hosted the first ever collaboration between us, which is a cross-border initiative conference, where we attracted about 70 investors and executives from companies in the Monterrey area, all of which are looking to invest in the state of Texas. And we're there to promote not just Brownsville, Harlingen, but Cameron County as a whole. Mayor John Cowan, he joined us. He spoke on a panel discussion, and he was specifically talking about the border tariffs, and then the Texas business climate, and then about Brownsville. So great example of regionalism, and hopefully we can replicate this model again, going out there and promoting everything in our backyard. Select USA, Jerry is at the Select USA Summit in Washington, D.C., meeting with different companies, both at the conference and outside of the conference. It's a great event because usually you'll have anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 companies from around the world. And they're recruited and vetted by U.S. Commercial Services. And then they come in, and it's basically a huge matchmaking session, them trying to see what community they're going to invest in, and vice versa, us trying to figure out what companies are out there looking, in this case, South Texas. Great opportunity for us, again, on the recruitment side. Along those lines, on the recruitment side, we are scheduled to be at the Paris Air Show and Expo, which is next month. The director of the airport is going to be joining us as well. This is the largest air show and exposition in the world. So it usually goes 1 year in Paris and then the next year in London. So if you are going to be in the aerospace, aviation, or space arena, this is where you need to be, because all of the decision makers for these industries are there. Also, so we've already got several meetings at the event, but at the request of the governor's office, they've asked us to also be part of a delegation of a handful of Texas communities to go meet with some of the companies that they're meeting with at the event. So that's a great opportunity for us. And in addition to that, there is a huge prospect out of Lyon. I guess there's a Lyon, France, to go down there and meet with them as well as part of the governor's office and trying to help that company located in Texas. Not sure if it's in South Texas or not, but governor's office is asking for us to do that. In closing, yesterday we issued the press release for Project Mustang, which is the code name for the Amazon project. Gained a lot of media attention, lots of traction on social media. Actually, there was a lot of traction on social media the week before. In one of the questions that had been asked was, how did this deal come together? And that's usually a question that we get asked, right? And that's really the real science and the magic behind it. So this is a project, as you all know, that had been in the works for 2 years. And there was several communities in cities in South, well, really just in the valley that were in competition for this one. But it was really the last 4 to 5 months that the project took off. And that's when we started kind of seeing like, okay, it might be now coming in our direction. So explain to the reporter that that's the difference between being a reactive EDC and a proactive EDC. Being attentive to their needs and providing them with everything as it pertains to fostering the entry of their investment into our community, into our city. No different than all the other projects that we work. At the end of the day, that's our job. So congratulations to the staff. They did an outstanding job to our leadership, to this board, and ultimately to the community. One more thing about this project. I just mentioned the staff. So internally, they're now getting to see or have an opportunity at what success and economic development looks like, what it feels like, and now they're getting to see what success is doing for us as well. But there's also a cost associated with that, which is a lot of work, and you just have to be relentless going after these projects. So we just have to remember, we've got a young team, but this has been a great experience, and it's been kind of like almost like a master class in deal making. And one thing that I've told the team as well as our leadership here and the community is that the difference between us and many other EDOs is we're proactive I don't like to use the word aggressive, but we're a very assertive economic development team. So congratulations to everyone. That was a huge win and a huge announcement for us. That concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't got any questions, but congratulations to you. You are the ones that put it together. You guys deserve the round of applause.
Yeah.
We're just fortunate enough to be here at the time that something like this
Yeah.
came.
Thank you.
guys did this. Congratulations.
Good work,
Reflection of the team. Thank you.
all of you, just the whole team.
Yeah, I echo the same sentiments. I mean, you are, all of y'all, terrific. And so I'm glad to be part of this whole team, but you guys are leading the way. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Congratulations, everybody. And again, this is one of many to come. So this board is certainly looking forward to the progress that you all are making in the coming months. A lot more good news is coming down the pike. So keep going and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Ms.
I-
Peña. And,
I think when the news media come and ask you guys, to say, well, we're just getting started. Good job.
thank you. So let's enjoy this one.
Yeah.
So let's enjoy it first.
But I do have a question for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, with all the companies and corporations that you're meeting with, has this, and you basically touched on going to Edinburgh with the UTRGV, and they're hosting what did you say about?
Okay, they were in town touring our community, looking at some of our manufacturing operations, and then we hosted them that evening. And it's part of a delegation that is, they're the ones that built that additive manufacturing lab at the university, at the UTRGV in Edinburgh.
Okay, that sort of gave me an idea, or not an idea, but somewhat of a little concern. Has any of these corporations, companies ever asked the question why we don't have an area where we can conduct a large conference for the city? Or, you know, I mean, I don't know. I'm asking if anyone.
So, good question, and all the time. It's always been since I've been in economic development, a lot of people in the business have always asked and or said, why do you all do not have a venue to host certain conferences? This place is ideal for that.
Okay, do you think at times that is a negative that they may not want to consider Brownsville?
In our line of work, which is looking at primary jobs and manufacturing, not so much. But it's a variable, but more of an external variable. So it might affect it, but not directly.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you.
Well, while we continue to figure this out, I will give my report. Good afternoon. This past month has been extremely busy and exciting, I think, for everyone here in the team. I've done 3 business retention expansion visits throughout the month, working with different companies to connect them with the local institutions to ensure that they're upskilling their employees, finding new curriculum so that they're able to provide that extra support and that retention, right, for their current employees. As we know, there's a lot of growth in Brownsville, and so I'm making sure that our companies that are already here are receiving that extra support. Not everybody can increase their salary, but they can definitely adjust to ensure that they're providing as much as possible. And so that's part of what I do, is I make sure that we connect them with the institutions, connect them with the state, and ensure that they're able to tap into the state funding, right? So we do have a couple of those projects in the books, and as soon as we're able to announce them, I'm happy to report that back to you all, but wanted to make sure to acknowledge that. I also attended the RGL&G Community Advisory Board, as well as the Housing Committee Board that they put together. And so in attending this housing committee specifically, they addressed the need for the housing shortage that they're currently, experiencing. In this committee, there was realtors, different people in the community a part of it to come together and find, the best places to really relocate about 200 of those employees that will be working directly with Next Decade. And so they're already working on bringing those high qualified people that were recruited so that they're able to train, our locals that will be sometime participating as part of the Next Decade. And just to report on the number that they have currently, by the end of the year, they're probably going to be about 5,000 Bechtel employees. They're getting ready to ramp up, and so that's part of why they're building these committees and bringing everyone together to ensure that we address these needs ahead of time.
Are the housing that they're requesting, is it short term, or are they looking for rental, or are they?
No, it's long term.
Looking for long-term housing?
Long term. Yes, sir. Additionally, I also myself and Eliasar attended the UTRGV Engineering Technology Program Luncheon. And so this is something that happens every year where the students that are part of this program through UTRGV present part of their final project. They get to build really cool robots and, kind of test out what they learned throughout the semesters. And so Eliasar actually graduated from that program. And so it's very exciting to go back and get to talk to those students, let them know what's happening, what we have going on, the opportunities, and how we can continue to facilitate those internship opportunities with the local manufacturer companies. So this is something that we're going to continue to work with Dr. Manuel, which is a professor for this program. In addition, we also hosted the Asian Chamber delegation. We met with the Port of Bronzeville and basically, gave them an update again as to what we're doing. They gave us an update. They're from Houston. They're part of the Houston Chamber. And so they just came to invite us to really be a part of their Beijing Expo and then, continue to create a partnership and see how we can work together. Beyond SpaceX panel, RGV startup, I was a part of the RGV panel. I believe a couple of us participated throughout the RGV startup, so we're happy to participate and, give them that support. And some of the teammates also attended the Mexlan Economic Summit, and this was put together by the McAllen EDC and McAllen Chamber. The whole idea of their economic summit was around AI in manufacturing, and how it's evolving. And, they made sure to state that obviously the workforce is not going to be replaced by AI. We just have to adapt to it, right? And so with that, there's a lot of institutions that came together and talked about, creating new programs so that they're able to adapt to what's coming, right? But then again, we're not being replaced, and we all know that. And lastly, just wanted to report on Rally in the Valley. Happy to report over 400 attendees attended Rally in the Valley, and this year we were able to invite more high schools, not just BISD, right, but all high schools from BISD participated, plus IDEA Bronzeville, Harmony Academics, and St. Joseph Academy as well. And so we sent out a survey. We put together kind of, things to improve, things that they liked, and the main thing is that they want to see more sessions. So we're excited to plan the next year's Rally in the Valley. But overall, we got great feedback on it. So just wanted to share that with you. Any questions?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rangel. Next item, Marketing and Communications by Marcela Sáenz.
Welcome aboard, Molly.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I have very good news today on everything that I'm reporting about. Opening with our social media, our numbers keep going up. 137 new Facebook followers, 65 new Instagram followers, 84 new LinkedIn followers. And I included some pictures of, our different events and everything that we document when we're out there attending conferences.
I know I probably asked this before, but 18,288 impressions, what does that mean?
It's the times that our posts have been seen.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And I think, Marlene, we can go to the next slide. Amazon, we announced yesterday that Amazon is coming to Brownsville, sent out a news release in the morning, and I am extremely grateful to our local media because they visited us yesterday. They were able to get interviews with our CEO, and it made it to the afternoon news yesterday. And I just included a few pictures of, you know, all the different media outlets that reported on the fantastic news, English and Spanish. And other than that, we are working on the Greater Brownsville Tech District groundbreaking ceremony marketing. Again, reaching out to the media, hopefully they can be there with us, and everything that has to do with public relations and marketing for that event. And then the week after that, we have the Brownsville Space Symposium, which also we're working on the marketing, communications, and public relations for that, for it to be a success. And last but not least, our website. I have an update. The website company that we hired to build a website for us was here last month, and they captured all the videos and all the pictures that are going to make it to the initial version of the website. We're going to do some testimonials. We're going to do, you know, just an introduction video of who GBIC is and how we can help. And they were here to get that some aerial shots of Brownsville to make sure that, you know, it's the video that we showcase front and center captures the true essence of our community, who we are, and what we have to offer. And here's a timeline. Here's where we're at right now in May. Copy. It's we are reviewing the copywriting. They sent us a very extensive document of like 30 pages with the primary and all the secondary pages. And we're meeting internally to just, you know, make a few edits, and then we'll be ready to go and on to the next thing for June.
Regarding the website, I was talking to my dog about it, and we need to have somewhere on the website, please, if there's a tab that says, you're looking for a job, click this link, and then just something where it either links in the workforce or a list or some employer says, hey, we're hiring, just put our name up there, and they could, and then these people are searching. Because somebody came up to me and he kind of was asking what GBIC did. He said, can you help me find a job? And I said, well, I think we have the resources to do it, but I don't think it's our forte. And I kind of mentioned workforce, I mentioned all those things that they could do. But I just feel like most of the impressions you're going to get are from young kids or from younger people that are more oriented towards seeing social media. A lot of those kids get out and they're looking for a job. They click the link and there's a place where they can know this company's hiring or know how to call it. Like that is, you know, it's just, it's helpful for everybody. It's not free marketing towards anybody because they can just come to the site. But I think that having a tab where looking for a job or something like that, and all of these major partners can say, put us up there. And here's the link to where they'll click and send them straight to the application. If we could do that, I think that'd go a long way if you can explore that potential.
Thank you, Mr. Orozco. And it's not really what we do, but it doesn't mean we can't do it. So we'll look at that. We'll explore that option, see how we can.
Yeah, I mean, just listing, like, go here, you're looking for a job, here are workforce solutions sites, here's this side, that, and low maintenance are on our end, but it at least points the people in the right direction.
Yeah.
We'll
look into that. Sure.
Wouldn't that really fit into, we're all about creating jobs. So there's some jobs here that's already, I think it's a good idea, Frank. I really think so, but if you can build it in somehow.
Thank you.
I think the chamber have something like that, right? On your website? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Sines. Next item, strategic plan update by Ms. Griselda Munoz.
Good afternoon. My update is real quick. As everyone knows, we have the board retreat coming up. There was an email sent last week, and we are dedicating a day and a half for this retreat. And we pretty much working in arranging it. Hopefully by tomorrow, we'll finalize the date and make all the arrangements. We also getting ready to do the second meeting for stakeholders. And we're starting roundtables in this project. In the roundtables, we're gonna be including employers and entrepreneurs. Tips or consulting company that has been helping us on this project will be doing all these meetings virtually. But for the retreat, they're actually coming down here. One more thing, one-on-one interviews, we started them when we started the project a few weeks ago, and I just want to let you guys know that it's still ongoing, and we are reaching out to important stakeholders from the city to participate in these one-on-one interviews. I don't have anything else. Questions?
The people that are going with us on the retreat, is that the same people as we had in the strategy meeting?
The people that are coming to do the project yet.
Yeah, that's the same guys, right? Okay, thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much, Griselda. Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope to, that we get ready for the retreat soon.
Thank you, Ms. Munoz. Next item, public comments. Chairman, there were no comments registered. Next item, consent agenda items. Consideration and action, if any, on the following items. Approval of the minutes of the April 17, 2025 regular board meeting. Acknowledgement regarding the payment of vendor services invoiced to the Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation for the month of April 2025. Payment for the First National Bank Texas in the amount of $25,000 pursuant to the performance agreement approved by the GBIC board in February 2023.
How are we going to do that to number 11 and 12 together, or y'all have any questions on the minutes?
No, but
Anybody? Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I don't know if we're gonna have discussion on the rest, but I'll make a motion to approve items 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3.
Second motion.
Second motion, so,
No,
any
could you
discussion?
explain the motion again? I did not quite hear you.
I'm just all three items I'm approving all, I'm proposing approving all of them, unless we had comments.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. Consent agenda items are normally all handled together unless somebody wants to pull an item out for discussion.
Okay.
Or individual consideration. Otherwise, they all go together.
So right now, we're doing, item 1.
It was for all of them.
Well, yeah, his motion was to
Accept.
acknowledge,
Acknowledge and approve all three of them.
yeah, all three. And it's been seconded so that, I guess, I'm looking at the lawyer over there, but I'm assuming now it's open for a discussion. On
Right,
this
or
motion.
just for a vote or for discussion, but yeah, the consent agenda items, they're usually taken on as a block.
Okay,
So if there's a motion to approve the consent agenda, it includes all the items unless somebody
yeah,
wants to.
we got a motion, we got a second discussion. I have a question about the, First National Bank of Texas. It's been a long time since we talked about that. What is it
Project Green
that we are funding?
So this is the second annual reporting for First National Bank. Last year, they created 100 new jobs. And so the total amount of jobs they were supposed to create is 113, right? So they have 3 years to do that. And this year, they were able to create 10 new jobs. So they've met their goal for their performance agreement. So we'll continue to look at the retention portion after that. But they've met all of the requirements for this year's payment.
So far, they're within the contractual.
Yes,
term.
sir. For training and for job creation.
Okay. More questions? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the motion passes. Thank you.
Next item, discussion, consideration, and acknowledgement of the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation financials presented by Salvador Villapan.
Good afternoon, Board. We'll be going over the financials through April today, which is 7 months into the fiscal year. Total assets are currently at 43.5 million, with 655,000 in cash, 28.5 million in investments, 695,000 in receivables, which is the sales tax for the month of March, and 13.6 million in capital assets. Liabilities are currently at 205,000, and that leaves us with a total net position of 43.3 million through April. Within our net position, we have 13.6 in capital assets and 29.7 million in our operating fund. And then within our operating fund, we have 2.1 million designated and 27.5 million undesignated. On here, we have budget to actuals through the month of April. Total revenues are currently at 4.8 million, with 3.9 million in sales tax, about 700,000 in interest earned, 200,000 on a gain of sale of land, 4,000 in sponsorships, and 26,000 in miscellaneous revenues. Total expenditures are currently 2 million, with 1.5 in operating, 50,000 in incentives, and 468,000 in initiatives. Currently, we have a total revenues over expenditures of 2.8 million through the month of April. Lastly, we have the sales tax comparison. Sales tax collections for March were about $700,000, which is about a 4.3% increase compared to March of last fiscal year. Collections through the month of March are 3.9 million, which is a 2.6% increase. And that increase is about 7.8 million in sales tax collections for the full fiscal year, if we were to continue that trend in sales tax collections.
Speaking to that, year over year, what's the growth? About 2%? Is like 2%? Is that what we estimate?
We budget about a 2% increase in sales tax. Historically, it's been between 3 to 5% actual sales tax increases. But conservatively, we do budget about 2 to 3% of an increase.
Okay.
So you also are, to me, I guess, I'm not a real finance kind of guy, but it doesn't look like SpaceX is really giving us a lot of business.
There's many different factors for sales tax collection. Ultimately, we do have an increase compared to last year of about 3%. Hard to tell.
See it as they buy goods in our community.
Okay.
More than what you're seeing as every time they launch. It's more of the increase that you're seeing year over year because of the inflow of people that are coming into our community.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think,
Thanks, John.
I think the interesting analysis would be pre-SpaceX development of the site year over year, how much the increase was and what the changes post-development of the site. That'll tell you more or less, like not from a launch, but from a general aspect. You might get some general idea if there was some increase there.
And I was looking at hotel taxes as well, you know.
Yeah,
People
the hot
coming.
tax. But you know, I think that's kind of like that thing where we want to see as the launch goes up, we're gonna have a huge increase in sales tax that day. But I think the real analysis is the people that live here that and have stayed, how much they spend. Yeah, that's gonna be exponentially larger than what one person comes and spends.
Yeah.
It's during the year.
Yeah.
We signed a contract for the development of almost 90 acres, so for close to $10 million. When are we going to start paying that? And because I don't see it reflected in the accounts.
Correct. As of right now, we haven't been invoiced for any activity. They have been working at the industrial sites. Just we haven't been invoiced yet. As soon as we do, you'll start seeing that activity reflected in our income statement. But it is budgeted for.
Okay.
Yep, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I think we're about a couple of months away before we start seeing some of those big draws. Right now, they've cleared out the land, the brush, and they barely started making the first inroads to the property.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why the projected interest income is higher than expected. We're like at 70-some% versus a little over 50% for 6 months, so, or 7 months. And that's really because we had anticipated having some large draws at the end that have not come to fruition. That's why that interest is really high.
One other question on our capital assets, the improvements other than buildings, what are the two, what's 2 million?
It's land improvements other than buildings, which is basically any land improvements made to the land that we have. And then we have the GBIC vehicle. That's all of our assets.
Is that like the north, is it north
right.
industrial improvements?
That's right, yes.
Any more questions? Or you,
Yeah.
Excellent report. Sir.
I don't think so.
Just, I think there
need a
needs to be a motion to acknowledge.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge.
Oh,
Second.
yeah, motion, can I have a motion to acknowledge the financial?
Second.
Second, all those in discussions? Got plenty, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have, motion passes. Thank you very much, Sal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Villalpando. Next item, closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.087 related to Project Industrial, Project Old Dallas, Project Coil Turbine, and Project Big Tuna.
I
Can I
make
have
a
a motion?
motion to move into executive.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion passes. We're going to executive. This is gonna be a wild guy. What? Yeah. Yeah, but here's this, he kept looking at me and said, "Big dark." You know, Elias, I think in my file there, I had the minutes. I haven't signed them. Okay, we're back in session. Can I have a motion to?
I make a motion to reconvene.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are reconvened. Pepper, you have.
Yes, sir, Chairman. I'm going to request a motion to proceed as directed in executive for items 8.1 through 8.4. And just note for the record that for project 8.3, board members Ben Peña, Ms. Ana Onoquin, and Gerardo Gonzalez stepped out and did not participate in the discussion. And for item Big Tuna, same with the board members, Ms. Ana Onoquin and Gerardo Gonzalez, but Ben Peña did return for that item.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So motioned.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, motion passes.
Motion to adjourn?
No, Billy. Frank?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming, everybody. Sorry it took so long.
That's your.
Which one is
On-
that? Marlene put it in here. No, that's, but, is that the, which one is it I need to sign?